we are back. Welcome back, everybody, for a very, very special episode of a recap during the candidates. Oh, your noise is coming from myself. Okay, let's kill that echo. Alright, good. Excellent start. So Peter is so excited about the candidates that he couldn't tear his eyes away from the Grenka chess, Fischer random positions, which we're gonna go through today. And I feel like I'm kind of sounding a bit sarcastic, like this is not something exciting, because this is still Magnus against Tabatabai, so like, which in any normal day is a pretty interesting game of chess. So oh wait, one second. I'm not getting your sound. Well, I can hear you, but the masses can't hear you.
Yeah, you are losing out on that bet then.
Okay, so try and talk now.
I'm talking a bit now. Does anybody hear me?
Yeah, I can see the bar is moving now, so they should be able to hear you.
So that you will have to hear it again. But well, we were talking about the tournament in Karlsruhe, and of course we can debate its importance. But actually, the top 8 players are, higher rated than the candidates. So it's pretty strong players we are there. This round is that we really flopped as interesting a position as possible, because we have the classical starting point position in chess, but with the king and queen switched. And that makes it look so similar to chess we are used to, but still with a considerable difference. First, of course, we have to think, is this just a mirror image position of the normal things, right? So do we just play? But that's not the case, because now castling will feel different. So, when you do long castle, when white castle to where his kings is, the pieces will move differently than before. So actually the players had to start thinking of all their normal, but to see where does this make a difference. And this led to some very fascinating positions. And I have probably correctly.
Yes, we're having some slight audio problems, I think. There's a bit of lag, but I'm not really sure.
Is it my network that's killing us?
I'm not totally sure. It might be mine. I got a kind of warning that
Hello?
my internet was a bit slow, but I'm not dropping any frames, so it might be on your end. Can you hear me?
It could be. I'm on. Yeah, I can hear. You were gone for half a minute, where I wasn't sure if you were just patiently listening to what I was saying, or you were gone.
Yeah, it was kind of dropping in and out. I think I got most of what you said, but it was kind of jumping in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, is it me who has to fix my network, or is it at your end?
I think it's at your end, because I'm not dropping any frames. Okay, guys. Well, that was a good stream. I hope everyone enjoyed that. It's pretty much as good as it's gonna get. So see you. We'll try and fix it. The joys of live broadcast. I have too many windows open. This is unusual for me to stream on YouTube. So I'm kind of like. Oh, okay. I should. I'm trying to get the chat somewhere where I can keep an eye on you guys.
Hello?
Welcome back.
Yeah, maybe I fixed it.
Okay, cool. Good. It seems like we're back.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have the starting position. I think we got most of what you said.
Okay. So I think, well, this is very interesting. You can see that, I mean, I think you will see players think for a very long time. And I think most of them came to the conclusion that 1d4 is the best move, but we would understand it as 1e4, right? So you move the pawn ahead of your king's pawn here. That's what Tabatabai did.
Yeah, and already this feels more confusing than I think normal Fischer random, because you feel like, I mean, obviously you do have some knowledge of the position, but I think it helps, obviously, but at the same time it makes it quite challenging to just calculate and figure things out, because you have a lot of information that's like just within your grasp, but it's slightly wrong.
Yeah, I mean, this one, suddenly you start your intuition and your knowledge starts kicking in, and it can be very confusing. I think it's a very tiring position. I mean, well, of course, you know me. When I saw this position, I spent 2-3 hours analyzing it with an engine to try and understand the opening. But I was very tired afterwards. While normally analyzing with an engine is not a big problem, but doing it here, I can see it stresses your brain, because it keeps putting pressure on you in terms of that it feels normal, but it really isn't in a way. And I think most players, I mean, there will be players who just plays their normal repertoire, and then there will be players like who try to think a lot themselves. And I think this was the case here. Tabatabai thought for a while, and then Magnus thought maybe 5 to 10 minutes before playing his first move. And he played the Sicilian, which is the best move according to the computer by quite maybe not quite a distance, but in normal chess, we consider e4, black can play e5, and that works great. Here is actually very, very bad. Not very bad, but much more tricky. And the point is, we will probably see it later. But yeah, we will see that later. He plays the Sicilian here. Also, we should understand it's, I mean, to call it an important game for Magnus is a bit too much. But he is on this kind of 12 out of 12 streak in Grenke in classical freestyle, which is quite a performance. I think from a statistical point of view, it's the best chess performance more or less ever. But I understand people don't necessarily think so, but I think it's incredibly cool. And of course, he would like to keep it. But, well, no spoilers, but he won't. So they play the Sicilian. He plays knight c3, well, which is knight f3 for normal chess. And already here again, Magnus had to think. Normally, he would put out the knight, so like knight c6, but then the Rossolimo seems to be a better thing here. So he played the move d6. And
which is e6.
e6, sorry, yeah.
No, it is d6, but...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. And I think his opponent thought for quite a while now and played the Alapin. But let maybe jump to move. I mean, if we do these games too much, it's going to be hard to cover all 1,500 games, right? So we have to be a bit quicker in that sense. Okay. So let's jump to move number 7 here. So this is a normal position, sort of like theory. But here you see the huge difference in castling, right? Tabatabai castles, and suddenly his rook is opposing Magnus' king, which is quite uncomfortable here. So normally, I mean, this is an Alapin Sicilian, it should be fine, but suddenly white get a power version. And this is the constant trade-off here. What is a power version? What is actually, better for me, for him, and such? And they were thinking for long. Magnus managed to defend quite well. Computer says he was somewhat worse already here, which is quite logical, right? White gets some more initiative. But let's jump to move number 15. Or 14, perhaps. So we have opposite. He plays rook takes d6. He could also play the move bishop to c4, attacking the queen and the king. But then there is the move bishop e6, exploiting that you cannot play knight takes e6 because of the queen hanging, right? Well, instead of taking off e6, which is obviously a blunder, maybe you could play the move queen to b3, and if you take on d5, then you can see that then you take back with the bishop and win the queen. And I think in this position, yeah, this is collapsing in a long diagonal. So probably, well, you don't take on d5. Probably you take on d4, and you are somewhat surviving here. So, I mean, Magnus actually played incredibly well in this game, but still it was tough to defend. But Tabatabai took on d6. It looks like close to winning because, well, it just picks up a clean pawn. And now Magnus took back, and bishop c4 followed, which almost wins the queen. But Magnus has this counter trick, bishop e6. And he takes it with the bishop, and then now comes a forced line. And they are ending up in some kind of ending, which luckily, at least if you're rooting for Magnus, is not too bad. And then comes the typical thing of Magnus trying to win a slightly worse ending, which he is extremely good at. And he came very, very close, actually. But if you jump to move 43 or 42, probably just before I put a thing, sort of like, so they got, I mean, Magnus gets the passed pawn, and now after rook takes e4, as played in the game, Tabatabai found that he could play rook takes f3, and well, basically the pawn is drawing, and yeah, that was it for Magnus' streak, and now he's no longer in the lead. But I chatted a bit with him after the game, and he seemed in great mood and thought that this was a very interesting position and had a lot of, starting position, and had a lot of thoughts there. But Magnus lost the lead of the tournament. I think there were probably 19 players who had maximum 3 out of 3, and now they're down to maybe 6 or 7. Maybe let's have a look at a couple of the other games.
Okay, I'll jump to the next one.
Yeah.
We have Nepo against Parham.
Nepom against Parham, yeah, and Nepom chose e4, which was quite surprising to me. So knight f6, well, we call it f6 here,
yep.
f4. And now, of course, yeah, he played e6. I started, of course, I mean, the Budapest Gambit we have to analyze, right?
Mm-hmm. Of course,
so,
that was a good move.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so well, you take it, and now, well, you have to take now knight to g4. And let's say you continue with your, well, maybe knight c3 is the normal move, right? But now black already has a great version. Bishop f5, I guess it is, c5, d pawn. And now you do long castle. You move the king into the rook.
Yeah.
Yes, like this. And suddenly you can see the rook is very well placed. You get the pawn back on d5. And I was about to say it's the best Budapest Gambit I've ever seen, but maybe I haven't seen enough of your games. Maybe they become
I've seen better ones, but this is definitely a good one.
I mean, this is not too bad. Mm-hmm. But after knight b4, I was checking that you probably should play the move d4, and then the queen attacks the knight. And when you take back, you play c4, and probably white is somewhat better. I think this is also quite common from the Budapest, that you can play something similar, and there's a ton of long lines, but I guess that you don't want to reveal all the secrets of your repertoire in such a
this is definitely... I mean, I think kind of one of the problems with this line is when you have the bishop on c5, then it's kind of can at least delay castling or make it more difficult. But here you don't actually get that because you're not preventing castling. So I guess this is an improved version.
It's a good point you're making. I also thought it's preventing castling, but of course it's not. And it's not. The king is not allowed to jump over a threatened square, but the rook can. So actually here, this is a pretty bad version. So maybe the Budapest doesn't work that well here. But Max Sudlow played d6 or e6, and we basically soon get some kind of weird Catalan structure. Not Catalan, Benoni, of course. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, this looks completely insane when you see it with normal eyes, but it's actually just a Benoni. And I mean, actually, Max Sudlow played great for a while. I think maybe let's jump to move 17. So you can see he has gotten his knight into e3 and everything. Now there's a threat to the pawn on a6, which he decides to defend. And then somehow he gets some counterplay. But I think the computer says if you play g5 here, just completely ignore that you lose a pawn.
Okay, so g5.
Yeah, he takes the pawn, you go g4, you kick the knight. So we swap on b7. The knight goes back, you attack the pawn on d4 now, and when you defend it, you're just going to put your bishop out on g5. And, well, you have this powerful knight on e3. This knight on g1 is a joke. And you are pawn down, but you don't care one bit, and you're really kicking ass here. So Mark Sotlo actually played a great game for quite a while. But then Nephom very much managed to strike back. And I think basically let's jump to move 30. Because there I thought that, so he plays the center through. Now comes knight takes e5. And, well, the idea is if you take it with the queen, then bishop takes f6 is knight counterplay. Well, we can do a small exercise for you. No, we can't. You have already executed the move.
Sorry.
So fair enough. And also you have the text. I just thought...
I can't see the move, so testing me is kind of difficult.
Yeah, maybe that will be trusting your honesty a little bit too much, right? So, I mean, I could have prepared better, but, well, yeah, well, we know how... I mean, based on if anyone cared about the candidates yesterday, it was a bad day for seconds, right? So, yeah. I mean, yeah, we are not that competent. So knight e8 is just a great move because it forces, well, you're losing the piece anyway, but he takes it with the rook, and now queen takes e5, and you can see this horrible pin in the e file, and basically, well, you can exchange queens, you cannot exchange queens, it doesn't matter. The rook and bishop are stuck hugging each other, just trying to stay alive, and Nepomniachtchi won easily, and he's now on +4, so he's one of the leaders of the tournament. Let's do a couple I thought there was a couple of other interesting points. So let's see the next game.
Yep. Okay, so next we have Hans Niemann against
Hans Niemann.
Mendonca.
Yeah. Hans won. Again, I tend to absolutely keep zero suspense. But they are playing a Sicilian as well. And this is a normal Sicilian with d6. Now, if you play the move h6, it's the knight of variation. It seems, it looks so ugly, it's hard to believe, but this is actually just a knight off, and it's a very reasonable move because, well, generally you would like to move here d pawn, but the e pawn 2 steps forward, but you want to avoid this check. So that was quite possible. But Mendonca played knight f6 instead, which then becomes this kind of classical Sicilian and rouser. And he actually got a very nice position. I mean, if we jump to move 13, this is actually just a very typical Sicilian structure, and black has a perfect counterplay here. And if anything, he's maybe slightly better, is too strong, but it's pretty equalish. But Niemann played a great game and managed to outplay him. And I thought if we jump to move 39, it was quite interesting here because... one more move. Well, we can talk about it here. Niemann, I think he's a pawn up, but this d pawn basically feels unstoppable, right? I mean, the king is active, and how do you stop the pawn? There's no way to do it. But Niemann just decided to be as greedy as possible, so he whacked on b7, but he passed the pawn, he took another one, he went up, and then, he just decided to take the h6 pawn. And then we get this incredibly weird ending where you have 5 pawns against a rook. And apparently it's just completely winning. So the pawn goes down, but Niemann doesn't care. He pushes the pawn. Queens, takes, and g5. And, it seems that the pawns will just waltz through. You cannot really block them in any kind of reasonable way. Mendonca actually gave it a serious try. So he played a tricky move, king to d2. Hans did something. So I guess check. And king to c2. Now he's almost mating. Imagine if you play g7, you go rook e7, threaten the pawn, and threaten mate at the same time.
Yep.
But he plays b5 to, I think, protect squares, and also give the king a way to run away. And I think now basically, he played rook e3, but it really doesn't matter. The king is just running away, and the pawns are queening. And Hans also joins the leader on +4. So, okay. King goes to a3. There is no checkmate on a5, and then, the pawns are queening after all. So we saw some weird Sicilian there. I thought there was a couple of extra interesting things. So if you don't mind too much, let's have a look at some more
Of
games.
course.
For sure, yeah. This was Abdusattorov. I mean, he used to be the red-hot Uzbek player, right? I mean, at least recently. He's been winning all the tournaments, and his rating was climbing. But of course, Sindarov has distracted people who had that opinion recently. But here he's black, and he plays, again, we get a Sicilian. But he plays now the Night Out, and here the Rosolimo seems to actually be quite powerful.
Yeah, it's just very funny that this isn't a Dutch. Like it's it's very hard to get this out of my head.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, it's of course it looks like a Dutch, but it isn't. And then the move B6 looks so ugly now, but it's actually the standard move in this Sicilian. But here again, well, we see castling makes it nicer for white, and because this seems to be quite a good castling for the aggressive player, while for the defensive player it feels somewhat misplaced. Now, I think he gets some double pawns, but I thought if we jump to move 14, I think Vokhirov had a great chance to be much better. I know so because my computer told me so. And also, I mean, Uzbekistan, it's not like they have just Sindarov and Abdusattorov. Right? Vokhirov is good. I think there was one other player doing great it's Yakubayev. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a hell of an Olympic team they have there, right? So
I feel bad for Yakubayev. I think at any time in history he would have been the strongest Notterbeck in the world.
Yeah.
And he was born in the wrong century.
Well,
the wrong decade, basically.
Yeah. I mean, also good luck being the best Peter in the world with Lekon Svitla around, right? I mean, not everything is fair. So Mr. Dodgy is probably safe, right? Yeah, I think.
I think so. Although some people might have different opinions about different people's nicknames.
But, okay. Anyway, here the good chess move is f5. So you go f5. And the point is that if he goes rook e8, we can take on g6. So strategically, he has to go g5. And it looks like a nice structure because we will go rook e8 next, and we will swap everything there and be happy to make a draw. But now there's this very nice move, queen to e6. And the point, if you take it, we take back with the pawn, and it becomes a strong pawn. The f-pawn is losing and such. That's really not going to... You have to go to b8 because knight f8, e7 wins a piece, and... I'm not a very good chess player, but I would guess that rook f1 or something like this should be winning here. Maybe probably bishop f5 is resigns, right? That's probably wins material, actually. Okay, fair enough. I think that should be winning. The king is there. So after queen e6, he would have to play something like maybe queen g7, and now we can just put a rook on e1, and he cannot go rook e8 because we take it, and next we're going to take the pawn on d5. And Abdusattorov would have been completely lost strategically at this point. I think computer is giving more than +2, for instance. So this could have been an upset, or maybe it's just because I don't know how strong Vokhirov is. Maybe it wouldn't have been a major sensation. But, you can see Abdusattorov actually got quite outplayed here. I used to think Abdusattorov was an incredibly strong freestyle chess player. I remember the World Championship, which was probably in 2022. I thought him and Magnus was the best players in playing freestyle, but it was Nepomniachtchi and Nakamura who met in the final because they just decided to play normal chess and hustle everybody in the time pressure, and they were much better at that. But I think since then, Abdusattorov seems to have kind of focused on classical, so I think he's dropped a bit behind in the freestyle, although I think maybe he got bronze at the World Championship, so maybe I'm insulting him a little bit in that sense. But
it's easy to think that he's focused on classical because he's winning all the classical tournaments.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it would not be a completely unreasonable lifestyle choice, right? To sort of to do that. So I think we will excuse him for that. Okay, next one. I'm just hoping we soon get to the London, so you can be annoyed. But it could be there's one or two. No, here we get it, right?
This is the
This is actually just a London,
the kind of
right?
Slav London as well.
Yeah, it's a Slav London in a way, and it works pretty well here. I also saw that on a slightly lower board, Garakamsky was wide, and he couldn't be one bit bothered. He just played the London system as well, and I forgot. It was against Kostenyuk. I actually don't know how the game ended here, but I think now the game here went knight c6, d3, knight a5, and I mean he played bishop e3. I really think he should play the move bishop to d5.
I mean, this one is funny as well because this is almost the way against.
Exactly. You're right. Actually, it looks like the game for the candidate. Well, it really, really isn't, but
yeah.
it still is in a way. And this is there isn't. Yeah, it's no connect. Okay, let's. I mean, ignore this game except for it's a pretty correct game. But I just thought it's a nice finish. So after b3, well, the knight is kind of trapped on d8, but if you put it on various squares, white will have some counter tricks, but not if you put it as far away as possible. So he put it back to g8, and then the knight on d8 is just trapped, knight c6, and I think king b7, protecting the pawn on a7, and attacking the knight at the same time, and then Murzin resigned. Vincent is actually a very strong freestyle player. I mean, well, he's just very strong, but we saw him winning in what is it called, Weissenhaus a year ago, and he's basically been doing quite well there. But of course, he's top 5 in the world, so no big surprise there. Yep. I think maybe let's also take the next one because then we can talk about 1b3, right? Okay. I think Fedoseev just decided, okay, stuff it. I'm just gonna play this.
But Fedoseev is like one of the experts in freestyle, right? He's one of the people who actually plays it outside of these tournaments as well. I used to think he was incredibly strong in freestyle and he would qualify for finals and such. But recently he had quite a setback, right? Maybe, well, I think he didn't qualify for a couple of events. I think maybe he was qualified for one of the last tour and did pretty badly and was quite upset about that in a way. But you're right that he's probably a regular in Freestyle Friday, I believe it's called, right? No, I think even outside of that, I think he was actually someone who was playing freestyle and just like fun games. Like I think he has thousands of freestyle games.
Okay. Wow.
I think the two that I'm aware of that play like before all of the freestyle stuff came up is Fedoseev and David Navarro. Navarro has a ton of freestyle games online, like outside of these competitions, which is
okay.
You know, they're the real fans.
It's embarrassing. I don't know such. I mean, I thought I was supposed to be the hardcore fan here, right? But no, I thought also Kasparov was actually playing quite some at some point. But maybe this is back on the play chess server, or what is it called, the chess based thing, right?
I think he might still play some on Lichess as well.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they do a lot of freestyle at these like Clutch Chess and Legends Chess and stuff.
Yeah.
So like he has played some of these over the board ones, but yeah, I think he does play some on Lichess.
I was trying to find a server who was doing your suggested idea that you can choose your own position on the background, but probably it's too difficult for an online server in terms of you have to insert things and choose and such. So nobody has went to that level of insanity yet, right?
I had one refinement for it as well that could maybe make it even more fun. Is that my original idea is that each player should choose their own starting setup to kind of complicate it. But my other idea is that one player should choose both players' starting positions, and it should be black. So if you get black, you get to choose the starting position.
Yeah, but then your black is completely winning.
Is black winning in that many of the positions?
I mean, if you can choose for both sides, I think you are more.
No, you have to pick this. It has to be mirrored.
It has to be mirrored.
Yeah, it has to be mirrored.
Yeah, the problem is then you will just choose some position that is a dead draw.
But wouldn't you choose a position that you've actually prepared? Because you can.
Yeah, that's of course. I mean, it's a good question. Would you just choose something that's extremely boring, or would you try to make it as difficult for white as possible? It's a good point. You're sounding. I'm sure that you would like to be black because there is some position that are just very boring. But of course, you could try and ambush in a certain way. Okay, I mean, yeah, I learn new things. I mean, I'll have to I mean, damn it.
That's another
I
one
promise.
to use up your whole evening.
I had some plans today to just do my regular job, which is preparing classical chess opening for Magnus. But well, then this thing happened, and I spent all my time on that instead. And now this happens, right? No, that's not. He's not gonna be very. But I think I saw some Vidit stream where he said that. Well, Nakamura, he's might maybe be the only player not doing his own notes at all, just reading stuff. Well, he said, no, of course, Magnus, but he's an exception. I mean, he might not read it and he might not play anything sharp, so it doesn't really matter. So maybe I mean, I might do the notes, but if he doesn't read it, of course, maybe I will get away.
I think it's a real thing. I think it's a real thing for pretty much everybody as well. It's like when you just read a book, like I think learning openings from a book is almost impossible because you just have no attachment to the material. And the difference that in terms of just purely in memorization, not even in like chess understanding, but like the difference between playing the moves out on a board and just reading it on a screen is like massive because there's an extra element in your brain that like connects with moving the pieces. Like you're triggering different parts of your brain, and if you're just not involved in the active processes involved in like making these things, I think it's really almost impossible for people to remember these things.
I very much get your point. And for instance, sometimes, well, I had to play some Bundesliga games myself, and it's a very interesting experience that suddenly you're not the one creating the files. Of course you are, but you're also the one reading them before the game, and you realize how many human questions pops up. What happens if this? What happens if that? And no, I mean, playing something as complicated as Nakamura did. Sorry that we go to the other tournament, but we will do that a bit, right? That, I mean, doing that, not having done the files yourself and only browsed through them, it's a very, very dangerous thing to do, right? I mean, if you want to have the Nakamura Carlsen thing, you better not play something where your life depends on remembering everything in the file and not understanding it, right? I mean, I think Magnus is very good at just overruling whatever file we sent to him and just believing in his human instincts. But I think Nakamura put himself in a very difficult position because he plays something that's impossible if you don't have perfect knowledge, which I think he rightly stated, and he didn't have that because he hadn't checked it very carefully himself as well. Right?
It's also a weird choice, kind of like based on who the two players are at this point. Like Hikaru's a lot older. Sindarov is so young and so motivated and so like like if someone tells me Sindarov is working on chess 16 hours a day, I'll probably believe that. Like I wouldn't.
I hope not for him, but I mean he could be. I mean, right.
But like if you tell me Hikaru's working on chess for 16 hours a day, I don't believe you.
Well, then you are disrespecting his streaming. I thought that's an honorable profession, right? But yeah, no, I mean he's not working on. Space barring like the rest of us, right? So no, but it's also that actually puzzled me. I thought Hikaru's choice would be, I'm better in the latter stages of the games. Let's try and get some there, not try to who has the best opening file. That generally surprised me. But of course, you could see when Nakamura was giving press statements before, he said this is a must-win game for me. So apparently he was afraid it would petter out in the draw, which. Well, it didn't, but not in the way he sort of exactly hoped for, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, that was also a kind of strange comment to make before a round 5 game. It's like, okay, you're really... I mean, I don't know, maybe there's some mind games going on, maybe that's what he's doing, but also it's like, you piled that much pressure on yourself to win round 5?
Yeah, I mean, I understand he would be behind with like 2-3 points, but I mean, if you're behind everybody with 2 points is not good, but you're just behind one player who's young. He might collapse, right? So that puzzled me a bit. But yeah, it's easy to criticize something that, of course, ended up in a complete disaster, right? So let's see. Anyway, I'm sure our listener is very attentively waiting for what happens here after G3. And here again, the opposite castling makes a big deal. So you should play D5. So d5, bishop g2, knight covers the pawn. You play d3, knight to c6, bishop g5, and now this awkward move, bishop e6. I mean, this also exists in b3, and I remember when seeing it for the first time, I thought this is completely ridiculous. It blocks the pawn, but it keeps the center intact, And here next, black will castle long. The rook ends up on d8, and you're already actually quite better here. So, well, I think I was arguing on Twitter, if someone hasn't seen it, that this reverse position is perhaps very, very interesting. But b3 or g3 is not going to be a good move here. Black is already better here. So
I mean, I think the whole concept is like it's still in tradition, still fits in with like classical chess traditions. Is that you should castle as quickly as possible in like very basic principles. You should develop and castle, and here you actually just get a bonus for that because you develop the rook immediately. So it makes sense that like the players that are doing well are the players who develop their queen side or their king side in this case as quickly as possible, and then get the bonus of getting the rook to d1 or to the d file as early as possible.
I think it's clear that in this exact position, we are much closer to classical chess than we are to general freestyle. So the best players will be the one who has studied a lot of classical chess, because almost everything is sort of the pieces have the same patterns, and sort of course the castling will mess it up a little bit. So you have to be careful not to lose immediately because you do something you're used to. But in general, it feels incredibly close to. And as you say, all the principles seems to be the same, right? I mean, here, the center matters, as you say, castling quickly matters, while in other positions, actually the center doesn't matter one bit. And you are, let's say, if your king starts on b1, you don't really want to castle. You just, you have a good position already, so why do it? So it seems that the pieces are the same thing is what defines the principles, not sort of if it's freestyle or not freestyle, I would say. If you really want to, we can stop here. I have one more 2 games, but
no, we can keep going. These are fun.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, one of my questions I had though is so I know you've helped Magnus with these freestyle openings, but isn't this just the first one that you would look at? Like, if you're randomly choosing positions, don't you pick this one first?
I am so embarrassed on my own behalf. I thought, why have I ever not thought about this position before? I mean, this is the kind of thing you should have prepared, right? Or at least checked.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me that you'd prepared one position deeply, I would probably pick this one.
Exactly. No. I mean, I have looked at some point I was wanting to write a book about this, but now I have slowed a little bit down. But there I studied one position, but there is one position that is the most critical, where white could be winning if black doesn't defend very well. I mean, black for sure can defend well in a lot of ways, but as a joke, I made a repertoire for white there. I mean, it has no relevance, but but this one is the one you would check, right? It just feels so lucky. I guess you don't do it because it's so unlikely. I think one day Magnus asked me sort of as a joke. He said that I just have this feeling that tomorrow position 381 is going to happen. Can you please look at it for me? And I said, well, if you insist, I can do it, but I'm going to think you're an idiot. And he said, yeah, it was a joke. But this position.
Did position 381 happen or not?
No, yeah, I don't think it did. No, he's good at many things, but predicting the future. I mean, well, he shouldn't be doing chess. Then there is even more lucrative ways to do stuff, right?
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, one should have studied this, and it turns out that the openings holds up much better than I expected. I mean, that the Najdorf actually is very reasonable. It sounds insane to me, right? And stuff like this. It's I mean, well, at some point, Aronian was having this idea that we should play classical chess, but when you castle, you can put your rook even further if you want. Mm-hmm. And the main point of that is that it kills the symmetry. I mean, especially e4 becomes a good move because, let's say, I mean, well, if you put up the Berlin, I don't know. Can you make the moves if it doesn't work?
Oh God, how do I? Okay, e4.
Yeah, d4, d5, knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5, bishop g5. Knight f6, knight c6, knight c6, and now long castling.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, on the rook.
Yeah. I mean, this just kills the Berlin because you castle, you protect the pawn, and suddenly the position is quite awkward in a way. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, for all of us who loves freestyle, our main aim is to kill symmetry. Or, I mean, if you take the standard I mean, I think also if you play classical chess, but you just have this rule that you cannot reply symmetrically on move one, chess already becomes much more interesting. It kills e4, e5, which of course is a pity. But anyway, now I'm probably reaching insanity level, so let's stop it at that. But
No,
maybe,
it's interesting for sure.
I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't in a way. I think also I was checking the Evans Gambit today, just to be able to get Agag Mata to retweet me, and he did, of course. And this is quite reasonable actually. This happens in the next game, so actually, yeah, go on, do another game. This was, I think the next game is, this is Sarana against Jobava. So he plays the Italian. Now, I mean, this is a bit of a passive move, but he's afraid, quite rightly, that if he plays normal, then, I mean, you can play bishop f5, but then f3, e4 is quite strong. But let's just go to move 6. They do like this. And here, I'm quite puzzled that Sarana misses more or less a trivial win. He must be confused because it's freestyle. But you can play the move queen g3, attacks g7. Maybe he simply forgot how they castle, that he thought the king would end up on f8, but it's actually ending on g8. It's the only way to defend the pawn. And now bishop h6 basically wins an exchange. The only move is knight h5. You attack the knight. There's no defense. He takes, and now we go long castling, and his king is just weak, and we are close to winning here. And these things you will see, actually, people, well, I mean, Sarana is a very strong grandmaster who will miss stuff like this. And I think it's just a very, very difficult game, it seems to me. Did I make notes for one more game? I forgot. Maybe I did. Maybe I did.
Find out.
Yeah,
yes.
I did. What is this? This is Maxime Lagrave. Yeah, he plays the Caro-Kann. I mean, d4, f6, it looks so ugly, right? But it's just a Caro-Kann.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, now, again, this also looks weird, but this is also with reverse colors, it's normal. I would be a bit scared of, playing. I mean, this is normally fine, but then the queen is behind the pawn. Here, even the king is, so he takes it and goes knight c3. And now long castle check is threatened, but he managed just to take, go bishop d7, and Maxime seems to not to be bothered, and this game was a rather uneventful draw. And I think now we have finally come to the end of my prepared material. I mean, there is, how many is playing there? 3,000 players?
Yeah,
but
they're
not
mostly
all
playing regular chess.
most is playing regular chess. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's only about 300-400 in the freestyle sections.
And you actually had the pleasure of playing there at some point, right?
I did, yeah. It's a very unique event. It's
you make unique sound like an insult. Is my impression, yeah.
No, it's a lot of fun. It's a good experience. To like, especially to visit, like to see that many chess players in one place. There's so much going on. If you're reasonably high rated, you'll get to play in the same room as the Super Grandmasters, which is a cool experience. It is incredibly busy. I've never been to a tournament with that many players, and I think there's way more players this year than there was when I played before. I would say that they have all these videos of the playing hall, and if you're a low rated player and you play in the second playing hall, it's a much nicer experience. It's much quieter. There's much more space. It's pretty chill in the lower rated hall. So that was if you lose the game and drop down there, it's pretty good.
yeah, I can imagine that. Okay, fair enough. I will just ask you. I mean, you have more than 30,000 followers, which, as far as I remember, means that you are a celebrity by law, right?
By British law, yes.
Yes. Which kind of effect does that have in? I mean, do people recognize you, or you ask for selfies or stuff like that, or how does it work?
It's incredibly random.
Okay.
I get recognized at small tournaments, and some people will ask me for a selfie, or it's usually selfies. Like the only time I've been asked for like autographs is in India.
In India, okay.
At the Olympiad, I got asked for autographs there. I've never had that anywhere else, but sometimes people will ask me for selfies at other places, or they'll just come up and chat. They've seen me. Believe it or not, a few people have seen me on this podcast, which always comes as a surprise to me.
Okay.
But yeah, in Grenka, there's so many people there that it was pretty. I was kind of ignored a lot of the time, which was nice because I can just chill and
Mhm.
I'm
So,
I'm I'm a nice level of famous where people don't really bother me. So
but you say still that it's nice you could be alone. I mean, I have the kind of vanity that I'm very happy when someone recognizes me, but that happens too often for you, or you
no,
just want to
I
be.
always enjoy it, but it doesn't happen so often that it's annoying. So like every time it happens, it's nice and it's cool when people come up and talk to me.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
never a bad experience because it
It's
doesn't.
exactly the same for me. I mean, it's not. I mean, we don't get to the stage of double figures, and then it starts becoming.
I mean, like the level of fame that Magnus has looks horrible to me. Like I don't think I
It
could live
is,
like
of
that.
course. I mean, you would like to be polite to everybody, but the numbers are just extreme. I mean, there is. I mean, he plays. Let's say he plays in Norway. He plays Norway chess. You have to use the main entrance to get in. I mean, 1 minute before an important game, people would want to have an autograph, which is very logical from their point of view. But I mean, well, the guy is probably nervous. He's trying to remember the stupid file and all these kind of things. And suddenly there is people mobbing you all the time. And well, let's say we go out to have something to eat, and you have to politely wait for your table. There will be people coming to get a picture or to talk with you. And even let's say we start eating. Well, people don't think that just because you are eating in a restaurant doesn't mean we shouldn't disturb you or something like this. No, that I mean that of course is not. I mean that cannot be pleasant. I haven't sort of discussed it with him, but I feel not to feel pity for Magnus is too much. I mean he has his fame for a reason. It comes with benefits, but that is something else. But I think for I don't know if I'm in your category, but for our level, I assume it's just amusing and fun, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's always good for me. I always enjoy
yeah,
it. But yeah, like
yeah,
for I think for Magnus Hikaru and for the Indian
yeah,
youngsters,
yeah,
it's pretty extreme already for them. I
yeah.
guess like the because I think all three of the super talents, Prag, Arjun, and Gukesh, they all have kind of roughly the same amount of attention at these things, and it's pretty crazy for them as well.
But I don't know if it's for them. I can imagine at home in India it is like this, but I would guess, when they are in Europe, it's considerably less to a certain extent, right?
I don't think it's a huge difference in. Well, I
Okay,
mean, I guess maybe it's less because like in India it's super extreme. It's
yeah,
crazy, but
but I would
it's like if I can say and stuff. There's a queue of
no.
people to see
But
Gukesh.
now you talk about a chess tournament, but there, dedicated fans will come.
Mhm.
But let's say you walk on the street in Frankfurt, I'm not sure that they will be bothered to that extent.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
I've never followed Gukesh around the streets of
No,
Frankfurt, so
it's a reasonable question. Reasonable point. I have absolutely no clue what I'm talking about, but fair enough. Um, okay.
any thoughts on the candidates so far before we wrap
Yeah, I
this
think
up?
um, Sindarov is impressive, but so is Caruana. We can see this on the number of points, right? I mean, I think you made a point before. 5 rounds is played. It feels like it's basically decided already, but probably it's not, right? I mean, it just takes one accident, then Sindarov is, could get nervous and things like that. But so far, I mean, he has been well prepared, but also he has been executing so well, right? I mean, with both against Caruana and also against Nakamura, with a bit less of confidence and someone thinking, damn it, I've got this huge gift. I'm leading the tournament. Now I could become the world championship challenger. He doesn't seem to be one bit affected by that. He just feels like a machine who pops out great moves. It's incredibly impressive in that sense. To be fair, the first round, he played quite crappily against Yesipenko. He was much worse with white when Yesipenko made a couple of really bad decisions and suddenly went from being quite better to a loss. But I don't know. Also, I'm not sure what has happened today fully, but let's see. And well, Caruana, he's just been good. I mean, it's of course Sunderov game, not really, but else quite good. And I guess everyone else, there's not that much to praise, right?
Yeah, it definitely seems between those two at this point. Yeah, I was impressed with the way Sindarov
Yeah.
converted those. Like there just didn't seem to be any doubts. There was no hesitation. There was no nerves, no shaky hands, none of this. Like he's just like, yeah, I'll win this game. And even I think maybe against Hikaru it was more likely he would be a bit nervous because he's at that point you're kind of running away with it. and he just seemed completely ruthless.
I mean, also his opening choice. I mean, well, he switches openings. He goes for this triangle Slav, which is not at all trying to be cautious, and he's very happy to play some complicated line, which he just seems to assume that he's the better prepared player, right? I mean, no, there is just, well, better prepared, better to play chess. He plays like someone who thinks he's the best player, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe he's right. It's just us who don't know him well enough. But
yeah, well, I mean, I said last week that I thought like there's a chance he is just a 2800 player, and maybe he does this.
Yeah, I mean, and it becomes more and more likely. It's still. I still don't think so, but I don't fully know why. It's just maybe you just need to have more evidence, right? I could just be living in the past, right? I'm used to Caruana is the second best player in the world, and so on and so forth. Maybe he is.
I think it's tricky because I don't think he's. I think he has. I don't want to say he's come out of nowhere because that's not true. But like over the last year, there seems to be a big jump in what he's been doing because he's definitely been overshadowed by Abdusattorov before.
Of course,
and also like the Indian kids and Alireza are basically of his generation. They're a similar age, so like he and Vincent as well. So like compared to that group, maybe he hasn't won as much stuff other than the World Cup, which I think is his first like huge success.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he just seems to be kind of there.
But I think I don't know. I think Sokolov was saying when he was the coach for the national team that of course. Well, Abdusattorov is everybody's talking about, but the most talented guy is actually Sendarov. But I forgot if he said he was not working that hard or something like that. I'm not fully aware. But, no. Maybe also, no, I mean, I don't want to call it luck because it's definitely a skill. But I mean, it's also a skill. But he was saying when he beat Caruana that, this position I looked at with the computer 10 minutes before the game. I think, well, not to be insulting, but then to use I think Svitler was telling me one point that the biggest amount of factor of luck in chess is this: did you actually guess correctly? And you were the one checking with the computer just before the game starts, right? And of course, it's a skill to do it more often than not, but that you actually manage to guess correctly what's going to happen. It does require a bit of luck in that sense, but I really don't want to be quoted on that he's been lucky. He's not. He's been good. I mean, so that is that I want to make fully clear.
No, the quotes there that will be taken out of context now.
Of course, yeah. You just
you've made the headlines.
Edit everything up. Yeah, that's my mistake. I shouldn't have done it.
We can clip that one. And you can
yeah.
Everybody can say you're jealous that Magnus isn't at the candidates.
Of course, yes. For sure. We've only been doing this for 16 years. I should have done it for 20, right? So this is just, it's pure jealousy in that sense. On the subject of jealousy, I thought that, our last podcast, was it the longest in the world? No. I think the record to break is 154 hours. And
I think you thought our episode was the longest in the world.
No, I didn't think so, but I just decided to say, could we beat the record? And I decided, no, I'm not going to try. You will have to find someone else if you want that one.
I think the average Joe Rogan episode is 3 hours. So like
maybe. Okay, it's true. Actually, I listened, believe it or not, to the Magnus episode of that, and that was some interesting moments. I think so.
I mean, we have a big documentary coming out soon. Are you allowed to? Do you have any insights on that we can clip in?
I have no clue what's in it, and shockingly enough, they haven't asked me to participate. I don't fully understand why, but they haven't. I have no idea. I had forgotten about it, but then when I finished watching The Office, I'm 15 years behind popular culture, so I only saw The Office recently. Then it suggested that, okay, now you're finished with The Office.
So you finally understand Laurent and Jan's "that's what she said" jokes? Or?
There's a lot of things I suddenly understand. That's why they were popular, that long back and such. So, this happened to me. I remember also this is when I worked for Team Vichy. We were sort of talking. I think it was Kasimdzhanov and Wojtaszek was talking about. They asked me, "What do you think of Britney Spears?" And I said, "Who is Britney Spears?" I mean, there's things I miss out on in this world, right? So, I mean,
that's fair. You got a lot of other things going on. So
but they were suggesting I should watch this Netflix documentary, and generally I actually dislike to watch these things, but I also write a chess column, so I probably have to review it. And the same, the Polgar documentary, I generally didn't want to see, but I saw it and I generally quite liked it and stuff. So maybe I will see this one as well. But it's just weird. I was in St. Louis at the point. I have my own recollection and feelings about it. To suddenly see Netflix popularizing and probably, I don't take it easy when people disagree with me. So I'll probably be upset when I see it. But, well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure what the point of it is at this point. I kind of, unless there's something new that comes out in this documentary, then cool. But like, it seems like the story is done. There's no. I would be very surprised if there's some huge revelations. I think there's some people involved in the story that maybe could have some revelations, but unless they've been waterboarded, I doubt there's going to be anything that comes out. So.
Sounds like you have mentioned waterboarding before. I think it's a
yeah. I mean, that's the only reason I would watch the documentary. If that was in it, I'd be like, okay, well, let's never mind lie detectors. That could be the next thing for chess players to be waterboarded.
That's true. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. No, it's also. I mean, I love chess, even despite people might not think so. But I mean, this is not really about chess. It's about a scandal and stuff like that, right? I mean. The Polgar thing is partly about chess, at least, right? So it's that of course we will see, but I don't know if there's something shocking. Maybe we can make. I mean, it seems like we are doing emergency podcasts all the time, right? So
there's a lot going on in the chess world now. We have actually had a relatively quiet period, but this week we've had, everything at the candidates. There's Grenka. By the way, speaking of Judith, her 11-year-old. Her record as the strongest 11-year-old girl of all time was broken by Bodana, which is pretty impressive. Although, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Bodana. Don't clip me out of context. But Judith's rating at 12 was 2550, and that seems like a big jump to break that one as well.
Yeah. That's like, congrats with this one. Good luck with the next.
But she's also higher rated at 11 than Magnus or Hikaru were. So
yeah, but. Well, these rating records are always difficult. I mean, I remember, of course, someone was telling me that, this Danish junior was stronger than you when you were 10. And but when I was 10, I didn't have much in rating and such. But speaking of Bodhana, how strong is she? I was wondering, you think she will beat me in a match? Yes. Pressing it?
No, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm not sure. I know she lost to Simon Williams in a very complicated game. Last week, so I guess like in classical she's probably rated around about where she should be, like somewhere around 2350, 2400.
Okay.
I think in blitz she's very dangerous. Like she might beat you in a blitz match, maybe not for SNA.
No, it would be interesting, but I don't know. I mean, well, we are trying to raise money here, right? But let's see if someone decides that they actually need to see this one happen, right? So
I mean, it would definitely be a good match to see over the board, because I don't know. I guess she's a bit taller now, but I saw her in Budapest and she was very tiny for. She was like 9 years old, and it's just like it's definitely one of the things that I love about chess. It's like
I'm trying to get my wife not to disturb our podcast, but I'm not to see it. But I gave it a shot. It would probably be more interesting on the topic of women's chess. But one thing about Bodhana no one is mentioning, but let's say in Danish sports, we will actually say it's too early for her to get this kind of public pressure. What is your take on that? Should children this age actually be protected in a way that she isn't?
I think they shouldn't be allowed online. Like I think it's like in general, I think the internet is not good for kids. Kids with any type of public fame, they should be kept away from the internet. I think it can be really damaging. I think the same with Faustino. And like I think Faustino's a great kid. I think he's super positive. I think he's super excited about chess. I've met him, and kid just loves chess. He's great fun, but like I wouldn't want any of them to like read the stuff that goes on online.
No.
Particularly with Bodana. I don't know if you saw the comments under, like, basically whenever she makes it into the British press, there's like genuinely insane comments about her made.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, I have a son who is 11-year-old, and I of course consider him a child and things like that. And Well, she must be as well, right? But I mean, it must be difficult to deal that kind of exposure and such. But
Yeah.
well,
But I mean,
maybe
like
yes.
her parents seem super smart, and they have a
Okay.
good support team. Like they're very
Yeah, yeah,
dedicated, and
good.
yeah, it's yeah, you just keep them away from that stuff and just let them do what they're doing, and hopefully it doesn't get
Yeah,
strange for them
yeah.
because
No, I mean the problem is also when you are so strong. I mean, she cannot just play kids tournaments, right? It makes. I mean, it makes little sense, right? So she
I
has to.
actually really like the mixture of tournaments that she has played. That I
Mhm.
think her dad obviously has some insight into, but like I think like her playing, she does play junior events, and then she plays open events, and she plays some women's events. Some of them she skips.
Yeah.
As far as I know, when I talked to her, I did a short interview with her dad, and she wasn't a huge fan of playing kids events when she was the top seed because it just wasn't
No,
that interesting for her, and she could kind of, if she
but
didn't win, then she didn't enjoy it very
but
much.
that's. I mean, it could be she's nervous. It could also just be that she gives the impression of she actually just likes to play chess. So I mean,
Mhm.
why waste a day where I could play interesting games in picking up some metal that you know that I'm it's not going to be defined. Well, I don't going to care in a week or in 5 years, right? So it's yeah.
Yeah, and like she plays like the European Women's Championships and things like that, which I think is the right approach. I think like I don't necessarily think because she's incredibly strong. Like playing girls tournaments in general, like I don't think that's great for improvement because she's better than most of them. But playing women's tournaments is a different story. I think that's still a
Yeah,
good experience where she's playing against grandmasters and stuff, and that's you really don't want to play people constantly that will just destroy you as well. You want to play like
yeah,
the next tier up, and I think at the
yeah.
moment that's like
No, but also I think Polgar was doing that till some point when he started becoming irrelevant, right? And
yeah.
that's probably how you do these things, right? I think. Well, Huyo Fan also did that to some extent. Then, well, of course, she stopped. Well, it's a weird story. She stopped playing chess, right? More or less. Now, she seems to play a bit now and then again. Okay,
And we
good. Of
also we
course,
also have this FIDE election coming up as
I
well.
was about to say that. Of course, we're gonna have a of which of the 4, 5 possible Russian-born candidates is gonna win, right? That's gonna be quite a race. But
Do you know? Apparently, there's maybe going to be some kind of European candidate as well, from what I saw on Twitter today.
mm, they sound professional because they have actually not talked to me about it. So that seems to be the most. They're actually serious. Yeah, it's not just a protest team. Well,
I don't know. I feel like it's too late already. I feel like
but I think we should start from the beginning. You think Dvorsukis is not running, or is it just back up in case he gets sanctions and such?
I really have no
No.
insight to this at all. And my original opinion was that Dvorkovich was there as a punishment for something because well, he went from organizing the FIFA World Cup to
Yeah,
organizing FIDE. Like this is a big step down.
I have made that point as well at some point that. Are we completely sure he actually wants to be here? Right? I mean that, but
But
you're saying,
I
yeah,
think he does kind of like chess. So
yeah,
there's that, and also, but his way out would have been to keep term limits. So he
yeah.
got rid of term limits, which makes you think, okay, he wants to stick around.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. That I mean, yeah. At that point, he must have been planning it to stay. Else it's completely insane, right? So maybe, well, you can argue, it's a backup plan in case he should get sanctioned, which he was rumored to be sanctioned. But then, well, Hungary seems to be blocking it. But Hungary has elections, yada yada yada. It might happen eventually, and such, right? So I don't know, to be honest. But a lot of names. I mean, I think Turlov has been mentioned. Rosenstein has
Whoa,
been
whoa, whoa!
mentioned.
Kursan
Oh,
has announced he's going to
Kirsan has
play.
announced that's
Let's go
true.
with the ones that are official.
Yeah.
Well, not official, but like it does seem like Kursan wants to come back. I think I don't think anybody wants that, but
No, I no. It's. I mean, I cannot imagine that. It's not. I mean, yeah. It just feels weird that Kirsan.
I don't see a world where Kursan beats Arkady.
No.
I think if Arkady drops out, then okay, maybe all bets are off. But
Kirsan is never. I mean, even if we believe that the Russian Chess Federation and Russia wanted him, that would be their stupidest choice because he's actually gonna lose, right? I mean, so that makes very little sense the way I see it.
you think
That-
anyone
that-
could lose with?
sorry,
You think anyone could lose?
Kirsan. I mean, just feels extremely weird to run someone who's been there for that long. And well, I mean, it's not that he didn't do any good things, but of course, over so long time, people get completely fed up with you in a way, right? I mean, of course, Trump got back for a second term, but we should maybe not discuss how we think that went. It's probably going to get, yeah.
You think Fide might invade Iran? Or?
No, I mean, if you remember, it was more Iraq and Libya he was connected to. Syria, he was. I think Kirsan was.
So he's got plans in the area, is what you're saying.
Kirsan was sanctioned by the US because he was involved in dealing weapons with Syria, if I remember correctly, right? Or?
Yes, I think it was specifically Syria. I think there was definitely stuff with Iraq and Libya as well.
Yeah. No. I mean,
but also, none of those guys are around anymore.
Yeah, maybe his network is not thinning out but dying. Yeah. So no, I don't know. Kirsan, I think he's not going to win that much. I'm sure about. But my best bet would be that if Dvorkovich for some reason doesn't want it or can't do it, Turlov would be the normal replacement. But I mean, why is Turlov not busy running a billion dollar Nasdaq company? Struggles me a bit to understand why would he want to be FIDE president. But maybe it's just more prestigious than I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how involved Turlov is in the kind of schools. He is president of the Kazakhs.
Yeah, he's president, and also of some international school chess federation that was founded quite recently, right? So,
but I'm not sure how much of the day-to-day work he needs to do for either of them.
No.
Yeah. And then the last one that we're confident is running for FIDE president is Vadim Rosenstein. Who at the moment, I don't know if he's running or not, but he's definitely campaigning. There's no doubt about that.
No.
So I hope you're taking notes because he's doing what you guys should have done 5 years ago.
I can't take notes because he's blocked me and on Twitter.
I'm at the moment he's my pick to be FIDE president. Yeah, he's
for real. In terms of support or in terms of who you actually think is going to win?
In terms of support, I feel like he's the only one. He's running a real campaign. He seems vastly more competent than than other campaigns, including Arkadi's. I think, he has this world championship title that he paid for, which I think is funny. It is the kind of thing I would do if I had money. But
yeah, fair enough.
So I mean, it's corrupt, but I respect it. And he's able to, like, he's appeared in the chessboard recently. He's able to put on pretty good events outside of FIDE, more or less. Like his WR Masters and his WR Knockout thing were pretty good events as far as I could see. He's making friends with a lot of federations, which again is what has to be done. So we'll see.
I doubt it, but I have some success rate as a second. I don't have that large success rate in FIDE politics, right? I assume I was part of the tickets getting the least votes ever, I would guess. So what do I know, right? But I just think the system is going to win. That is for sure. But if the system is going to be Dvorkovich or Turlov, I don't know. I don't know if the system could be Rosenstein, but it doesn't seem so as far as I understand, right?
I mean, he does seem to be doing this outside of the current administration.
Exactly.
Because like his offer to move the candidates is a pretty aggressive attack on FIDE. Like, it maybe wasn't perceived by everybody, but I imagine the people within FIDE were like, what are you doing here?
No, exactly. Sometimes you would accuse people of being, let's say, controlled opposition. But if you're controlled opposition, you don't do that kind of stuff, right? I mean, this is must be very annoying for them, right? That a player is withdrawing and then this guy is offering to host a reserve event in a way.
Yeah, I
So,
think it was he was making a play to show that he's an alternative to FIDE. Like I think it's
yeah.
again, I think it was a good move. I think he's like I don't know if he's politically smart or he has good advisors,
Okay.
but like so far I think he's done everything right.
Oh, maybe he's looking for a deputy, or campaign manager. I don't, well, but his campaign seems to be saying that you can't
I'm
do it.
willing to support. I'll throw my weight behind him.
Yeah. I didn't expect the podcast to go in this direction, but well, yeah, okay, fair
yeah, I
enough.
baited you in with Fisher Random and then
Yeah,
switched to a
yeah,
campaign
and then,
rally for
then
wedding
you start
versus.
rallying for someone who is blocking me. To be fair, most are, but still, yeah, okay.
No, I mean I think these kind of elections would be significantly more interesting if it was one person, one vote. Like even if it was just a straight up, you have a FIDE rating, you get a vote. I think these elections would be much more compelling.
Yeah, that one is probably also unfortunately possible to manipulate in a way, but yeah,
I mean, I think you can still there's measures you can do to mitigate, like
yeah,
how, like I mean, you can do it as if one person gets a vote, and if you're higher rated, you get bonus points because you're more
okay.
dedicated to chess. Or if you play more rated games, you could get bonus points. Like those two
May-
things are.
Yeah, it sounds not gonna happen, but I get your point. But I mean, if actually it's a real challenge from Rosenstein, it could actually get quite interesting and competitive to a certain extent, right? I mean, well, me and Boris Polos was running on ideas, and of course, obviously, as a protest, if someone tries to beat them for real, and they actually start feeling that, you know, they might be in trouble, it can become very weird and such. We will see. It's been a while since we had a competitive FIDE election, or maybe not. It's only 8 years ago. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Well, we started with free trail chess. We ended up with me losing a FIDE election. That's how things go. Yeah. Okay. Well.
Well.
Yeah.
So we'll maybe do another recap if
Sure.
if Grenka goes well. We might.
Yeah. Yeah. I
get
hope.
more interesting positions from.
Yeah.
Grenka.
Now they can't have this one again, but they should be starting quite soon, right? So maybe I should switch back to following Magnus. There's a new position that has to be studied. So
They have started already.
Oh yeah, I still think he's the favorite in that tournament. But let's see.
Can I ask you? How has Magnus found the? How does he deal with like the 2 games in a day thing? Because there's not. I mean, I guess his last year was the first time he'd played 2 games in a day for a long time.
Yeah, I cannot imagine that he has done it since childhood. And when in childhood, it was not that popular yet. I think it's a recent trend that we start playing that much. I think actually it's a good trend. I remember when I played the European Shogi Championship, I thought, triple round, that's great. I take 4 days holidays to play Shogi. I want to play as much as possible. And I guess the point here, in 5 days, you can get 9 games, right? I can understand the appeal. For professionals, less so, but they are mainly amateurs players there, so it makes a lot of sense. But I guess perhaps it helps that it's not rated, right? I mean, if you could suddenly lose your world ranking and, in 1 day, it would feel a little bit more pressurizing, right? In a way. But I honestly don't know. But he hasn't asked me to, go there, so perhaps actually he needs to, not be distracted, right? I think it's a famous quote from Geller. Geller told Larsen, he said, "Okay, you are so lucky. I mean, you don't have to. Well, you only have to play chess. It's not like me. I have to play chess, but I also have to teach my seconds, right? I mean, it's because they were forced to have someone from the Soviet Union sent with them. And I think for this event, Magnus has energy for nothing else than playing chess. While other times, well, he will have a second to help, but of course also to play golf and stuff with him. And this is that you can't do when you play a double round tournament, I think.
Yes, this is true.
I managed to get golf in the end. That was good.
Have you seen what the position is? You're gonna look. Have you checked it yet?
No, I can do it. So, you actually want to go live there now, yeah?
Well, I wouldn't, but I think you should see the position. And you'll.
Okay.
Maybe I can just bring it up on the screen. Actually, here.
Yeah. This is. when I go to chess.com, actually they have candidates ahead of this tournament. That's slightly insulting, but okay.
Okay, hang on, I've got it on our screen now. Okay, this is the starting position.
You're kidding me.
No.
I mean, they are making this up, right? No,
This is-
no, I guess.
I can't believe they had this in the same day as the other one.
No, I mean they must be doing it manually, and the guy is lazy, so he's just switching a pair of pieces.
I
right?
mean, they've got the machine with the balls. They brought it to
Yeah,
Germany,
but
so.
I think it was Svidler once told me that they had some football player having to do this drawing a lot with the balls, and the football player just told him before. So should I pick hot or cold? Because this is the way you rig these things. You make one of the balls a certain temperature. So when you put your hand there, you take the one you want to have, right? So maybe they have done the same here. Although with 959 positions, it's not that simple. But okay.
Yeah. So so we're pretty much just playing regular chess today.
Yeah. Okay. No.
This is like this Gibraltar tournament where Hou Yifan wanted to play against. She didn't want to play women's tournaments anymore.
Yeah.
She wanted to play men, and
I
she got
remember.
paired with 4 women in a row. This is Magnus. He doesn't want to play regular chess, and they're giving him these positions.
I remember that people were seriously thinking that they were rigging the pairings just to have her playing it, right? I mean, it was completely wrong. It's just, I mean, well, she's so much higher rated than them, and there is a lot of female players in that rating segment, so it's actually quite logical in a Swiss that she would be paired to play them. But people were thinking that they were rigging the pairings, I remember, and such. So yeah.
No, I remember that case, and it was like someone recreated the pairings very easily and showed that.
There's nothing there.
It's a kind of freak result. But I mean, I've played in a tournament. I think I've played 3 women in a row once.
Yeah,
which was kind of, it's unusual, but I think it actually happens a lot more nowadays than it did in the past.
I mean, I had a full season in the French Chess League where I only beat women players, but I beat 3 of them, so it wasn't that bad actually. I mean, not at all. It was not a bad season for me. But so this happened. I mean, in the French League they have a woman board, which well, if you wanted to make it half an hour longer, we could discuss why I think it's a bad idea, why you think it's a good idea. But they have it in this interesting way that that there has to be a female player, but not on a specific board. And I played them quite a lot there. But actually, I can see the game here. It really becomes a normal French. So let's just have a look at that. So
Yeah.
This looks, come on, it looks completely like, it looks like Yasasaya when playing Blitz, right? I mean, it's, you know.
Yeah,
you have
it's
to-
just, okay, the knights are a little bit weird, but...
Yeah.
Even the rooks are not... it's not crazy to have it on B1 and B2.
No, this is, come on. No, this is, what is this?
Yeah,
okay.
It's just chess. No, you're right, freestyle is the future. It's just
Yeah,
regular
yeah.
chess.
Wow. Two, okay. No, it's maybe, you sure Feed has not hacked it or something like this? I mean, it's, no. Okay. On the positive note is that I think modern computers thinks that even that you get rid of this bad French bishop, this the positional advantage of the space is still quite overwhelming. So I would expect the computer to think white is quite better here. But let's see. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Anything else we
I
can
think this is a good note to end on.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, good. Okay. Maybe the candidates will look like freestyle, at least if we are lucky. But,
Yeah,
no,
it
let's-
looks more like freestyle, I think, some of these games.
exactly. No, this is ridiculous, to be honest.
That's good.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
thank you.
thanks for watching, both of the viewers. And
Yeah, thanks.
We might be
Yeah.
back for another recap before the
Yeah.
before break is over.
Yeah,
Okay.
at least we can, yeah. Take good care. Bye bye.
Okay.